And the hope is, because today Tim Ryan announced that he is going to be running for the U.S. Senate there, as Rob Portman has said he's not going to run for reelection. It would be great to see a Tim Ryan or someone as equally as good as Sherrod Brown fill that spot and have two good senators from
Yeah.
Ohio.
Tim's a great candidate. He is as much of a unique combination of, I always love your posters and stickers and stuff in your office here. He is a total labor pro worker candidate, but he also bridges that very well with the 21st century vision. How do we get the next generation of jobs into the Youngstown area? He's pushing very hard to have, modern, energy efficient vehicles, for example. So Tim is a great sort of bridge between the old and need to be, relived commitment to workers, but working very hard to create a 21st century economy. He launched a video today where he's walking with his son Brady. It summarizes his view so well. So no, I think Tim's a great candidate. When I chaired the party, if we needed a go-to guy to fire up a crowd, you call Tim Ryan. He's got as much of a natural charisma and ability to fire up people, and he can do it in all 88 counties of Ohio. I've seen him in big cities. I've seen him in small towns. He's very strong. And the good news right now is the other side is an embarrassment. I mean, they literally they're competing to be the next Josh Hawley. It's embarrassing to watch. Not one of them supported Donald Trump in 16, yet they all are pointing to the other ones for not being Trumpy enough in 16. I mean, it's a joke. I'm Republican, more conservative leaning and moderate columnists and others I know are literally saying, "My God, it is so painful watching them." So Tim Ryan, may also find himself, take nothing for granted, but on paper, if he can keep up with the fundraising and the organization building, he'll be the better candidate in terms of who he is and what he stands for. And I think he'll be able to appeal more to a lot of voters in Ohio who, like you said, delivered Sherrod Brown an 8-point victory when Sherrod was up against a very right-wing candidate in 18.
Yeah, that's my hope anyway. But I look at the Republican contenders right now, and you've got the wife of the Timken fortune,
Yeah.
and you've got a crazy Josh of your own, Mandel, who
Oh,
got
he's
thrown
awful.
out of a Trump fundraiser, which I thought was hysterical. Uh,
He did. But here's the secret. Trump is going to like him. Trump did not endorse Jane Timken, who you mentioned early. I think that's going to cost her because the more this goes on, this guy, Josh Mandel, is just like Hawley. You cannot be out Trumped when it comes to him. And I think Trump, and by the way, he's the only one who's run statewide. He's run twice and for Senate, and then he dropped that last Senate race. He's way ahead in the polls. So this guy is like out of central casting for the kind of guy that Trump will like. So I wouldn't call him a favorite. It's very early, but he's got a lot of advantages. But I think Donald Trump is going to watch this guy Josh Mandel and say, that's my kind of candidate. But I think he'd be a terrible candidate in general for the Republican Party.
yeah,
Terrible.
I'm not gonna
Here's
jump
he's on
in.
a ticket. He's on a ticket with Mike DeWine, and he's attacking everything Mike DeWine's done already.
Yeah, I'm not going to jump into the middle of that because I don't pick who I want because
Right.
based on who's the worst because we could end up getting the worst, and that's one of those scary things. Because I look at
Correct.
Josh Mandel as just a snotty rich kid, and that's the last thing we need in the U.S. Senate.
Yeah. No, he is bad news. What's funny is he's also been a chameleon. He was pushing for Gore in 2000. He Jason Cantor had a great story about how when they were both treasurers or they're both statewide officials, Mandel approached Cantor about doing a radio program for good moderate veterans like Mandel and Cantor. So he's been changing stripes every single election. I mean, in a scary way, honestly. And now he's all in for Trump. You'd never know that he used to run around saying he was a moderate. So this is a guy who is sort of the last person you want in public service at any level.
No, and this brings me to an interesting point because I like people who are true to what their positions are. I don't
Right.
want someone who's going to stick their finger in the wind and whatever, whatever the politic of the day is where they go. I want somebody who's actually, got a skin in the game. And I look at someone
Absolutely.
like Tim Ryan as, he's always been the champion of working people from a working class
Yeah.
town like Youngstown, who was just battered and beaten during and through the deindustrialization, losing the
Yeah.
steel mill and all of the horrible things that happened when that went through. And here's a guy who gets up and says, we can move forward, we can rebuild, we need to do those things.
Yeah.
That's the kind of fight I like.
No, he's lived it. His family's lived it. I think his in his video today, his grandfather lost his job in the same way so many others have. He fights so hard for the valley. It's tough, but he's had some big successes there. Whether he was the minority, the majority. So no, I think he as I said, I've been with him in a lot of places, and I've seen him speak to people in all parts of the state. And he'll, like you just said, he'll give the same speech, and people like it everywhere. Because whether you're in a smaller town or an urban area that's struggling, Tim gets that struggle, and I think he's a very good candidate. He'll I think come across very well all across Ohio.
Because here's my fear. My fear has been if I'm sure you've noticed this, like everyone else has. The Republican Party is kind of pivoting. They're in a moment right now where all of their ideology and all the things of the past have either failed, are failing, or are exposed for being bad ideas that they
Yeah.
always were. So now they're kind of pivoting, trying to be the party of the working class. They now care about working people. And somehow now corporate America is the bad guy, especially when corporate CEOs are saying that black people should vote. I want to make sure that we don't allow the Republican Party to claim ground like Donald Trump did in stealing
Yeah.
labor's message on trade issues and going after China and reshoring manufacturing. I want to make sure that the Republican Party is pinned with all of the horrible things that they've done and they stay pinned.
Yeah. I mean, I think the key on our side is that you have candidates whose, whatever their other views are, their core message is about jobs and wages and workers. I mean, that's Sherrod Brown's secret sauce is there may be some issues that he believes in that some of the people who vote for him don't believe him in, but they know at the end of the day, his job number one, his North Star is fighting for their wages, for their pensions. They kind of have internalized that after him being years doing it. Tim Ryan's got the same core. And that cuts through a lot of other political clutter that the other side tries. We've been talking about it, Dr. Seuss and Tim Ryan was the one who gave this awesome speech about Dr. Seuss a few weeks ago on the House floor. If they're talking about that goofy stuff, and they see you in that you're the one fighting for their jobs, it cuts through all of it.